This segment is brought to you by Crash Plan.
The internet, as much as it can transcend these borders, it doesn't. So now I'm going to hit you guys with a bunch of flags. Arab Spring changed a lot of things in the terms of internet censorship and freedom, because Egypt, Libya, Syria, Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain all filtered or dropped internet access in 2011 when they underwent their revolutions, right? And in these countries, internet access is not like what we enjoy today, where the proliferation in the United States is somewhere around 85%. In these nations, it's anywhere between 20 and 30%. Okay, and for those people, it's of a different class. You have to be, you have to have a lot more money to be able to get access to the internet. You actually, you may be a lot more of an intellectual person. And so, if you're in Egypt and the internet shuts off, where are you going to go? The streets. Wonderful. You've got a bunch of smart people in the streets, and so it actually kind of worked out pretty well. However, it wasn't without casualties, as we saw. Syria used phishing sites to actually capture Facebook logins, okay? And they would use those logins to go in and delete people's accounts to keep them from being able to communicate and uprise, right? Totally uncool. Citizens were harassed, beaten, killed. Facebook, to their credit, I don't normally give Facebook credit, but to their credit, handled this in such a beautiful way. They said, oh, these people's accounts are getting hijacked. Not, oh, Syria's being a douchebag. They said, let's find a way to solve this in a technical way. And so they did, and I love the solution that they came up with. Now if your account gets reset, your password's changed, anything of that nature, well, when you go to log in, it just shows you thumbnails of your friends, and you have to choose, like, oh, I know who that is, I know who that is, I know who that is. Which is really cool, because otherwise the government would have to have a database of all of your faces, and oh yeah. Still, kind of cool that they took that. And so we think that it couldn't happen here, except for the Protecting Cyberspace as a National Asset of 2010 Act, which will pass in 2010, which gives the president the power to enact an emergency measure of shutting down both the government and private sector internets, any part of the internet infrastructure. Now, quote, in case of a large-scale cyber attack. Try defining that. Oh, we're getting DDoSed, shut down the internet. Like, how do you even define that? I'm reading through some of the stuff coming out of Edward Snowden right now, and it's just like, or some of the docs that have been released since, and there's just broad interpretations of all of this stuff. Thankfully, Congress came in and they're like, whoa, 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 turn off the internet. Well, we gotta make this, passable, or else I passed the thing that said you could turn off the internet. How about turn off the internet for up to 120 days, at which point you will have to ask us for an extension for another 120 days. Way to go, Congress. You guys rock. I just threw this slide in here. I've been given this talk before this broke, and then suddenly it's like, you didn't think it could happen here? What, Syria, Tunisia? Yeah, sorry. That'll be a whole nother talk of its own, hopefully in a year. Or not in a year, when more fun stuff happens. But continuing on with the trend of flags, can anybody identify this one?
South Africa.
All right, South Africa is awesome. I don't have my wallet on me or my passport, or else I would show you. But I have a friend that I met that's from South Africa. Okay, a bunch of cool people are actually from South Africa. Mark Shuttleworth is, and he does really cool Wi-Fi stuff. In fact, South Africa has some of the best Wi-Fi community networks. Johannesburg WUG, or Wireless User Group. Pretoria? Can't pronounce it. Cape Town, Durban, two others that I can't pronounce, have awesome community-based mesh Wi-Fi networks with dozens of kilometer point-to-point routes, just using off-the-shelf gear with antennas that they've built. And so I met this guy in Ireland at the tog.ie hackerspace. If you ever get a chance, go there and bring them a rubber ducky. And I'm talking to this guy that started this wireless mesh network. And at the time, they couldn't actually provide internet access because only the state could provide internet access, right? Well, they went through all the red tape and all the hoops, and they were finally able to provide that to some extent. But even before then, they were providing their own microblogging services, their own community forums and social networks, and all of the things that we know and love about the internet. And they had actually got it to a point where anybody could come to a meetup, grab a little blue router, plug it in, and become another node on the mesh without having to, be a rocket scientist, which is awesome, right? I think it is a great example of meshes in work. In fact, I was actually just giving a talk similar to this in Seattle, and I was talking about, because here's the thing, Seattle, totally known for their awesome Wi-Fi mesh network stuff. Turns out at hackerspace, the guy that runs that started the Seattle wireless mesh movement, which is fantastic to have been there and talk about that. And I actually mentioned this to this guy that I met in Ireland, and I'm like, dude, he's like telling me all about the technical stuff. I'm like, you should go to Seattle and hang out with those Seattle, wireless guys, because you guys could really feed off each other. I think you'd get on. And he's like, oh man, I'd love to go, but I'm like, what? I'm South African. So? You're a citizen of Earth. You're a human, right? Nope, you can't come here. I have 2 passports in my wallet. I'm gonna have to go back out there and get one for my stamp. I have my hacker passport and I have my US passport. And I love the United States because it is the most free nation in the world. But it was just appalling to me to realize that this person couldn't even go to Seattle to meet this guy, to see this other mesh network and learn from it. But you know where he can go? He can go online, which is awesome. So that's the power of the internet. And that's the power of mesh networks. And it's only one of many different technologies. The ISM band is free for a lot of cool use, right? We stomp on 2.4 and 5.8. This one we can't use in Canada. And there's a bunch of other restrictions on the other ones, like these guys can only be like really low power. Mind you, this is the government telling us what we can and can't do with a natural resource, with something as inherent in Earth as the land and the water and the wind. Okay, all right, maybe I'm getting a little too hippie here, but it's just energy. It's no different than the photons of light or my speech right now, modulating air pressure, right? But in 1947, the ITU, bringing it back to this governmental organization, just decided that, hey, you know what? We've been using like spark gap transmitters and other horrible things to communicate during like World War II and all of those things. It's time to standardize some of this stuff, and they chose 2.4 gigahertz for microwaves. They came up with these different bands that industrial, scientific, and medical people can use. Eventually, in 1985, the FCC made all of this stuff unlicensed for us to use free and open, which is awesome because we can all set up our own Wi-Fi networks where there isn't restrictions on what we can and can't say. There isn't restrictions to access. There isn't, anyway, they're free and open, and I love them. More flags. Flags are fun. Anybody know this one? This is the Czech Republic. Okay, so there are some problems with radio, namely permission issues. I would say is the biggest problem with radio. I would say if you want to limit access to radio, use physics. If you want to talk to Tibet, you're going to have to use a really low frequency, and that's going to not be able to provide as much bandwidth. I think those should be the laws. Now, I'm a little conflicted about it too because I also believe in infrastructures like these roads where you have to have a license. But a license to express yourself as a human, I don't know about that. So these guys in Czech Republic, they came up with a really cool community mesh network that did not use radio. Can anybody identify those? Might be a little hard to see here.
I think they're called tornado boxes.
I've never heard of them called that. I know of them as ranjas. Okay, this is using infrared. It's called reasonable optical near joint access, and this stuff looks like that in the day. These guys are able to do full duplex 10 base T networks over infrared with distances of about a mile, right? So in a populated urban area, you could play StarCraft over this, which is awesome. And sure, it's susceptible to interference. You've got. I'm not going to run one in the San Francisco Bay Area and expect to cross the bay because it's too much fog or smog here, maybe. But everything in this project is GNU, fully documented, free license. You can get something like 0.87 miles on red visible light and 0.78 miles on invisible infrared light. Really cool. Like I said, while it's license free, full duplex and high bit rate, it is susceptible to atmospheric aberrations and things of that nature. There's actually a lot of study going into this area right now. Anybody familiar with Wi-Fi? This is a really up and coming technology. IEEE actually just certified or is starting to certify the first batch of Wi-Fi. There's a bunch of studies going on in Stanford for this, but basically, imagine a light bulb that is, flickering at a certain frequency or something like that, where your computer can use it as a network, but literally it doesn't leave the room because the walls are in the way. Using light for transferring information. I mean, we're really just talking about mediums here. I say I love the internet. I don't give a shit if it's over optical or Ethernet or token ring or smoke signals. This is another awesome network that's being born in Austin. It's called, or it used to be called, the HSMM Mesh. Thankfully, they changed the name here to Broadband HamNet, and as you might imagine, it's a ham radio network. The ham radio operators are allowed to do really cool stuff with higher wattage radios and things of that nature, and they overlap the ISM band in what we consider channels 1 through 6 of Wi-Fi. So using simple off-the-shelf Wi-Fi routers with open WRT and OLSR for mesh routing, they're able to come up with something like this. And this is a screenshot from a couple of days ago, but they're building this out. I can't wait to get down to Austin and meet these guys. But this is another example of a community mesh network that's working. In fact, another one just launched like 3 days ago or something. It was amazing. Did everybody see this? Hell yeah, I love Google for doing this kind of epic stuff. The Google X project, Project Loon, launched on June 16th. It hangs out somewhere around 12 miles. And this is a balloon, solar-powered, bunch of MeshNet radios that connect together in the stratosphere, create a huge network, and then relay back down to the ground to provide internet access to regions that may not have it. Fantastic technology. Uses really cool stuff where, based on its altitude, it's able to actually move around a little bit and, hover. Brings up interesting discussions about airspace, about creating global mesh networks and legalities of that, because people seem to think that they can own the sky. Except if it's over 100 kilometers, then then it's space, and then that's okay. Or was it 100 miles? Kilometers? Somebody correct me later. That would be like a smashing into the moon difference. It's a good thing NASA's never done that, mixing up miles and kilometers. So, there are a couple other examples. Commotion Wireless and Project Byzantium probably share some of the most similar things. They are basically set up to create wireless mesh networks very easily on the fly. All you have to do is, in the case of Project Byzantium, they've got a live USB, a live CD ISO you can burn and boot off of any machine that's got Wi-Fi and turn it into a part of this mesh. And what Byzantium does is they're really focused on mesh networks for disaster relief and things of that nature. So they actually build these networks where you can auto-join and self-healing, and they provide already built into the ISO and the distribution, all of these things, services like a microblogging suite, a Facebook-like social network, all of the different things that we've come to know and love about the internet, except, just consolidated in this little ISO that you can boot off of, and then everybody becomes part of the mesh. And then you can connect to it with your phone and actually start getting some real information around it. Maybe really help some people, which is awesome. And it's all, GNU, it's all open source, it's all really cool stuff. Guardian Project does very similar stuff, except they're focused on internet infrastructure. You guys are familiar with the Tor project. That's another good example that should be up here. But talking about how to build on crypto, how to build on strong crypto that has been proven and that we can implement in a more easy way, where I can get on Jibberbot on my phone now and talk to somebody else, and as long as I've exchanged my public-private key pair, I can have a conversation that the NSA can't crack for another 10 years. That's fantastic. And so those are technologies, while they're relying on traditional internet infrastructure, can be applied to any of the other infrastructures that I've talked about. So this is the point where we get off the rails, and if it wasn't so hot in here, I would talk about unlicensed availability of spectrum and driver's license versus ham radios. We could go off on a thing about being civil and polite, and draw analogies between accountability and anonymity, and how that applies to like IRC and software-defined radio, crypto, and other things of that nature. I think I'm going to use this moment though to just ask if we have any questions, and can we open some of these doors?
I have been using CrashPlan for years, and I never thought I'd be this enthusiastic about backups, but let me tell you, the guys over at CrashPlan are doing it right. First of all, your data is for your eyes only. We know that, and that's why CrashPlan offers the best privacy guards using Bruce Schneier's open source Blowfish cipher. So you can generate and import your own private key, so it's never stored on their servers. And what's more, CrashPlan is cross-platform with clients for Windows, Mac, Linux, even Solaris. You can see why I love it. And you couple that with the truly unlimited backup. Seriously, I have like terabytes up there. You can see why I am so excited. In fact, the CrashPlan software is so flexible, it'll back up any file, not just off-site to their own servers, but to your own external hard drive for free. I'm doing that right now. I love this. As hackers, as geeks, as IT professionals, we all know the importance of off-site backups, and as Hak5 viewers, we're getting a very special hookup. We're gonna get an entire year of unlimited backup. Their normal plans start at $59.99 a year, which is about $5 a month. But if you go to this very special page over at crashplan.com/hackitup, you're gonna get a whopping 20% off. So that's a year of unlimited backups for less than $4 a month. It is never too soon to back it up. So I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of this special offer. Visit crashplan.com/hackitup. You're gonna see why I love it. That just about wraps up this week's episode of Hak5, but before we get going, there's a couple of things we'd like to remind you. And actually, TBH, I want to say, first and foremost, this is absolutely not a comprehensive list of alternative infrastructures as much as, you know, it's kind of the conversation. I kind of feel like what this is just, well, just talking about something I'm passionate about and trying to hopefully encourage the conversation to continue, because it's something that we need to be very focused on, because we are the geeks, the hackers. If you look back, 30 years ago, the idea of a hacker with a neckbeard was the guy that was inventing the internet. And it's so cool that at these hacker spaces that have become, like, they are part of the social network, that meat-based social network. Before there were, before there were social networks, there were computer clubs and things of that nature, and it's so cool to go to these places.
Beginnings of the IRCs.
Yeah, and then those people at those clubs were all like, hey, let's build a networking protocol called IP, and then next thing you know.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're at a hackerspace, you want to continue this conversation over a couple of beers, I've got a lot more that I would love to say. It's just something that I feel very passionate about, and I really value everybody's feedback on this. I mean, basically, the way that I feel is that, well, yes, I'm proud to be as free as I can in this world. I believe in this one. I believe in Packet. Well, this is a hackerspace passport. In fact, this is a brand new one, so you can have it.
For real?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just fill that out.
Do they actually stamp it? When
I
you
do.
go to...
Well, not everybody has a stamp, but you get like stickers or whatever have you. And
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It has awesome backgrounds.
I just feel like it's one of those things where I believe in packets, not passports. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
packets don't care. They don't know. Or at least they don't have to. Seems like more and more packets are going to need passports in the future, and that's just not a future I want to live in.
Yeah,
so let's do something about this. Yes, so let us know, feedback at hack5.org, in the comments, on the forums, wherever have you. We're all over the net.
Oh, you know what? Something cool happened during DEF CON.
Yes?
Actually, I guess it was during Black Hat.
Yes?
I got nominated for a Pony Award.
Oh, those are the ones that they do at CanSec West for like hacking boxes and like, own a Mac and get a free Mac.
So they had one for Best Song, and me and Dale Chase did a song together called SSH to My Heart.
Oh, did you and Dale Chase exchange public keys?
We did.
All right.
Yeah, I may have showed him my private key, and
then
I was like, no, but you can't have it.
Whoa. Shannon Morris's private key next time on a very special Hak5.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we got nominated. The winner was Dual Core.
Oh, of course. Yay! It was Dual Core.
I know. I was super excited. His song is All the Things, and both of those are available on Bandcamp.
Oh, it was for the song All the Things?
It was for All the Things.
I love that. You're not going to like his Snapple because he pops it with vodka in a cyanide capsule.
It was pretty amazing. So now Dual Core has a little My Little Pony, and I was like, you have to bring that over so I can play with your pony.
Oh my God.
And also dongs.
I love ponies. Hey, speaking of ponies and dongs, I am going to Boise, Idaho.
Oh, really?
I have no idea how that works in there. Hack Across America is continuing. I have some confirmed dates and some cities where I'm working on. Don't have the exact date yet. But I'm about to leave for Boise, Idaho, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And then I've got dates for September 5th, 6th, and 7th is back-to-back Dallas, Houston, Austin.
Oh my
So look out,
gosh.
Texas.
Those are kind of far away from each other, FYI.
No, that's like a 4-hour drive between each.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7.
Well, that's what I mean by
Texas is
far.
one of those where you can
It's
only go
really
55
big.
and yeah.
You can go like 80 there.
Sure, in a van.
Okay, well maybe not in your van, but.
Okay, and then after that, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa. Don't have dates for those yet, but those will be on the way in between September 7th.
You should go to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
No. They can come out to KC. And then Minneapolis on September 19th. That's going to be huge. And then Chicago.
Ooh,
Chicago! September 21st.
That sounds awesome.
And
so
then
you're making your way over to the East
I'm making
Coast.
my way.
Yeah, it
I'm
takes
gonna
some time.
I'm gonna do a lot more lips.
That's awesome, man.
But those are the
Exciting.
dates. So
Yay.
stay tuned, hackeracrossamerica.com for all the details. Sign up if you're interested in participating or hosting a meetup. And we look forward to maybe getting snubs at it at a few of these too.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
need
pretty
to.
cool.
Can
Yeah,
you fly
Paul's
me
been
out? Because I don't want to be stuck in a van with you.
I don't want to be stuck in a van with you
24 hours.
either.
That's kind of scary.
Might see your private key.
Ew.
So with all of that said, I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Trust your technolust. Let's make the thing. Ready?